Everybody, check out how Felix gets ready for a live show. It's called Natural Botox for all people who hate chemicals. We should be live on ROKFIN, but I'm just gonna double, triple check to make sure. Felix recently went through the same thing I've been going through, which is he had another video removed, but Felix doesn't even check his stuff. So he didn't know this for quite a while. But when did this video,
Well,
when was this uploaded?
well, let's. Okay, so I got to Miami. I mean, I got to my sister's in Port St. Lucie, and anyway, so I just moved into my new apartment in Miami last week, and I'm interviewing for work here in Miami. And though Miami is wonderful, I didn't want to turn off potential, employers right off the bat. So I was going into my channel, which I haven't been in like months, because I've been dealing with moving and reestablishing myself and recreating a new life after, destroying my life in California and leaving there. So I, where was I? So I went into my channel and I decided to unlist some of the real controversial ones, and like the one that I got really angry at some of your commenters and went off on them for you. And, because I thought maybe just put up, a couple of them and then leave my showbiz stuff on there. And then apparently that shot up a flag for some fact checker or person or machine to, screen all my videos again or something. So they had two. Last week I got one after I did it. And it said it went against, it was one that I was ranting about the protocols in Hollywood, which is what my main rant was, and vaccines, the vaccines probably. And so and then the other one was, but they were like from literally a year ago when I started really ranting, which was probably a year ago, January, when I started my rants, between January and August. But this was early on. So I don't know, they just knocked that one off, but they're all on local. So I know I have them and I've kept copies of them, so I can give a shit. And I mean, I hate
YouTube. Yeah, that's why we decided not to do it live on YouTube too, because I asked you if you were familiar with the community guidelines and you're like, no, and basically I don't want to be. So I'm like, okay,
no, and frankly, I don't care, because they're unconstitutional and I could give a shit, and I'm not going to post on there. Because first of all, if I need that YouTube for something work related, then that's the best one that most people have. So but I'm not saying that's the best one. I'm saying that is the one that the entertainment industry has. But fuck the entertainment industry anyway. I left that, really. I mean, I have an agent here just in case. I might still get a job here or there, and you never know. There's a good commercial or something that might come up, and a lot of stuff is shooting down here because they're leaving New York and LA because of the frickin' protocols, that they're still acting like it's March 2020 till this day. I sent you a couple of emails of the castings I got this very week from Central, right? Saying that now you have to be boosted, and you have to mask, and you have to social distance, and you have to test 3 times before you work on one show. They are still doing this. I mean, I have the screenshots. I'm saving it all, because eventually I hope there's some class action lawsuit that they kept doing this for so long, and so many people lost work or didn't get to work, like myself, because they wouldn't go with the unscience that they're following 2 and some months, years into this. I mean, it's laughable and it's embarrassing. It embarrasses me that they are so behind. I mean, it's crazy how unscientific they're being after everything that's come out. Look what it says, but on this one, you can read it here. It says something about local health officials. So yeah, you see how they narrowed that down now, because it's no longer the CDC or the federal guidelines. It was now always local, like California.
It was always local health authorities or the WHO, and it's not narrowing it down; it's widening it, because who is your local health authority?
The WHO is global, and they're not even adhering to most of this stuff now anymore. Right. They've come out against lockdowns and masking children and all of that stuff, and the CDC has too. The only places doing this are frickin' Hochul in New York and Newsom in California.
You did this all by yourself and it went an hour and 26 minutes.
What?
I think it was an hour and 26 minutes. This thing.
No.
That's what it
Was it?
says. That's a
No,
lot
that
of
must be
talking.
one of.
Maybe it was 126 seconds. No, I think it
No,
was
it was.
yeah, is you might have talked for a
No, I
while.
did not. I would never post an hour and a half video talking myself. The longest is one with you that was an hour, and we didn't even post that whole one on.
Right. Well, anyway, so yeah, COVID testing SAG after is it illegal was what, and you said this was how long ago?
It was actually that was like probably in February of 2021, probably a year ago.
Okay, so thank you because that brings me to my video, which I don't know if people can see here. Can you see
Okay,
this?
good. Enough about me. Now, what about you?
Exactly.
Or enough of you. What about me?
It's not letting me scroll over. Okay, here. I don't know if you can see April
Yeah.
17th, 2021.
Which one was yours?
This was with Dr. Brownstein.
Oh, right. What's his story?
Here, this is what it looks like. Wah, wah.
Oh, God.
Doctor silenced while treating COVID patients. And it was just him talking about how he was targeted by the FTC, actually, the government, not the big tech platform, because he was on his own website. So he couldn't even talk on his own website about how he was helping patients, which was crazy because
the internet was the FTC.
No, the government.
Right, but the internet was blocking him.
Yeah, they told him that he could be fined or have his license removed.
What about the American Medical Association? I'm sure they're investigating him if it went that far.
I don't know, maybe, but we were just talking about how he had to write a book about it because books still not like they can always be sold for you to buy, but they allegedly still have constitutional rights, whereas a human doesn't anymore. So he wrote a book about it.
Except, they're saying that there are books online that have already been edited after all of this has been going on that weren't at the beginning. So if you want to get a book that's controversial, you're supposed to get it in hardback when it comes out, because there's no telling how they may edit them later on Amazon, on books, whatever, Barnes and Noble, all of that. They have the ability to do that, and they will edit future versions that you get online.
That's a good point. So both of ours were a year old, and I just think it's interesting because, well, first off, I'm so paranoid now when I'm on YouTube that I know that if they had the same rules back then or were aggressively enforcing them the way they are, I would have done with it what I do with all my videos now, which is just like clip a safe portion of it and put it up. So they really are going back in time, holding people accountable to new rules, which, it's
well,
like double
that's the
jeopardy,
culture, but that's cancel culture. If you did a tweet 10 years ago, you're out.
Right. It's the same. So it's just interesting though, because I do think this is kind of a new escalation. I've seen this from people like Matt Orfala and others where it's like sometimes even they've already deleted the video, but definitely this phenomenon of like something from a year ago,
right? Well,
being targeted is new.
Well, and I unlisted these, and then they found them because that's what I went on to do, was to unlist them.
What if, here, this is the interesting, because they keep changing their guidelines.
Community guidelines, exactly.
And, this is the newest one. This was from March, but it still holds that basically now if you minimize or trivialize, they're saying well-documented violent events, and they're now removing content about Russia's invasion in Ukraine that violates this policy. So today we began blocking RT and Sputnik's YouTube channels across Europe. Since Russia began its invasion in Ukraine, we've been focused on removing violative content and connecting people to trusted news information. An overview of the steps we've taken the last few days. We paused monetization and significantly limited recommendations for Russian state-funded media channels. Both actions are global and indefinite. Our trust and safety team has worked to quickly remove it. So dystopian. Our trust and safety team
it's totally Orwellian. That words that speak that
has worked to quickly remove Violative content. We've removed
Violative?
hundreds of channels and
Who the
thousands
hell
of
says
videos.
violative? What kind of a word is violative? Is that even a word? Because these 20-year-old fact checkers probably don't even know if it's a word or not. What about violation of guidelines? Violative? Is that for real?
Yeah.
I've never heard that word used.
This is an
Violative.
interesting.
It sounds
This is
bad.
an interesting part of it too. That they're displaying info panels underneath videos from news publishers with government funding. And I think that the reason that that's interesting, because they're saying, okay, videos from RT and other Russian state media channels began showing this label as early as 2018. Giving context, the channel is funded in whole or in part by the Russian government. But, I think it was The Blaze that just published their FOIA where they got how much money the Biden administration spent on advertising with corporate news for COVID propaganda. And so why isn't that government funded? It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like it's exactly, it's the same thing. And local news affiliates, like I know my old ownership company was pairing up with government health authorities, local health authorities for sponsored content or working on initiatives to like get people vaccinated and stuff like that. So it's so ridiculous to make it sound like if you're watching corporate news in the United States of America, that's not in any way government funded. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's all ridiculous. I can't even believe what's going on. I can't even believe I still get up every day. It's easier here in Florida, but I get up every day and still am like, did the last 2 years really happen?
Felix and I are planning to meet up in Florida so that we can go to Disney and do some on-the-ground reporting. So hopefully that will produce some fruitful material. But Felix, it sounds like you could really use a drink right now.
Yeah. I haven't drank since December.
Really? That's why you're so amped up.
That's not true. I had some tequila in February when a friend of mine was visiting from Paris here in Miami. So I did, but that was it. I haven't been drinking a lot, but I do love wine, and I've been wanting to get this. I really have.
Well,
go ahead.
Yes, if everybody watching will give me a minute.
Andes, right?
What'd you say?
Is this the one from the Andes?
Yeah, well, Argentina, yeah.
Argentina.
I mean, some of them are a little bit lower altitude, but one of them's from almost 9,000 feet. Another one from 8,600 feet, so it's pretty high. But also the oldest vineyard, 200 years in that area. And then this one is natural fermentation. They're really good wines, and I don't know. I like to think they're healthier. I haven't tested them, but they use a lot less
arsenic,
a lot less chemicals in the production of grapes and whatnot when you're up really high in the mountains, and you get 50% off the wine, and you get 50% off shipping, and you can support my channel. And for all those people who hate the ad reads, you probably wouldn't see this video without my sponsors at this point, because we may remember that I got fired last year. So
from who? Wait, what? Oh,
I got fired.
Your real work. I mean,
yeah.
Not your real work. I meant that other job.
Yeah.
That other job that was hideous anyway.
Yeah. So I had to hustle to become a full-time independent news person.
Right. So, but, and let's address this. Okay. So are you done with us? Get this wine.
Go to AllisonWinePromo.com and get 50% off my favorite Malbecs and 50% off shipping. And now you're going to get 50% off whatever Felix is about to say.
And it's a good company. It is a good company. I mean, they can research it. It's a good company. Are these the ones that do the turtles too?
No, that's Nicaragua. That's my coffee. TwinEngineCoffee.com/Allison.
They're
which
good.
you could do too. I have glasses, but I think their website's down, so I'm not going to waste people's time.
The Rodent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love them too. They're great.
Rodent stock. Yeah. Well, betterspectacles.com/Allison.
But let's address this. Let's talk to the audience about the ads.
Okay, let's do it.
Because Allison sends me comments sometimes, and then it really annoys me and pisses me off. And they're like, too many ads. You know what? Somebody's got to pay the bills around here, okay? And you wouldn't send this to CBS or NBC or CNN and say, I really don't like all your ads. I was also telling her that Blaze TV, they do live reads all the time, plus commercials when they're on Pluto. So a 2-hour show, a 1.5-hour show ends up being like 2 hours, not only with commercials, but then their live reads during their live shows. So shut up. That's what I say. Shut up. You know, it's not a lot to endure to get this kind of quality information, okay? But if you want, you know, quick, fast shit, go somewhere else. You know,
well, there are,
and then you'll get quick, fast, 15-second bullshit from companies that are bullshit, and that companies that hate you and are unpatriotic and doing everything they can to destroy this country.
Well, the reason that I even bring it up is because, you know, I was just on with Slow News Day this morning, and they're awesome, but they're totally viewer supported, which is great. Just like no agenda, you know, value for value is what they call it. Like whatever you think this video is worth. And I think that's a great model. I just don't have the audience base yet for that. You know, to support like a family, you know, we have a kid, we hope to have more. You know, my husband's an independent contractor too.
You have farm animals, you've got kids.
Well, I mean, and you know, I mean, the other thing too is like everybody in independent podcasting is in like a different place in their journey. And, you know, some people they're just one person. That's all they have to pay for. Other people have more than that. Some people have medical bills. Like I lost my health insurance last year. And so, you know, anyway, it's interesting, like how to fund independent media versus how to fund corporate media or whatnot. And, you know, I don't know. It's just funny how there are certain things I've noticed that people get like really riled up about, that if I sit back and say, wait a second, like a lot of the content that I consume, like for instance, if somebody sort of veers off the audience bias and they say something that you disagree with, I can't think of one time like listening to someone who said something and I'm like, well, that part I don't really agree with, where I just had like a total conniption fit and unsubscribed. Or like the ad read stuff I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, a lot of the people I listen to, I don't sit back and go, God, what an idiot. Like if you want to skip through, you skip through it. So it made me start thinking about how you do dance with similar devils in the independent world as you do in the corporate world. It's really not, you know, you have to still have your compass. Like it's not like you can just leave corporate news and then there's no pressure to perform or to you know, get the ratings or whatever else. There totally is. Yeah, tons of, and so you really have to still be like on point with your own moral compass.